Tyreek Adams now questionable instead of out. How's his progress going, and is he practicing?
Yeah, he's getting some work with the second group, moving around. I think we can get him in the game if we needed to in an emergency situation. I would think in probably another week he'd be in a position to really effectively help us. But he'll dress, he'll be available, and I would think he's more of an emergency situation.
So he's not quite ready to plug and play for this week
well, no, I think
lineup.
he can play.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't. I mean, he's not in a position to be in a rotation if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
But he could give us a dozen plays, 12, 15 plays, and help us out if we needed to.
When we talked to the players, they said a lot of the mentality was about, taking care of themselves and getting themselves back, understanding that it's just one game.
Yep.
What have you seen this week out of the team and their preparation?
It's been really good. It's been intentional, extremely. Look, nobody's in a good mood. I mean, the food doesn't taste good. Nobody's happy being around each other. But look, we have to be better, and I've made it pretty clear that, I've got to be better, our coaches got to be better, our players got to be better. And so we've been intentional in that work. Our guys had a great week in terms of what they were asked to do. They went out and did it. And I expect them to play at the highest level on Saturday against a team that, in the same regard, is just playing fast and free because, that's how they have to play.
With Trey Dez, it's been a couple weeks now since you guys have kind of made that, switch to a receiver-type role for him. I know it hadn't come with a lot of catches so far, but just is there anything you've been able to learn over his performances these last couple weeks and how maybe he can help you guys in the next couple of games?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's still a viable receiver for us. It's just, we didn't target Aaron Anderson until almost the third quarter. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there, and, we want him to be part of the offense. We think he can be an important part of what we do, but we have to find balance in our offense. I don't want to throw it 50 times a game. We want to run the football. So if you add all those things up, Anderson needs to touch it. Lacey needs to touch it. Chris Hilton looks like Chris Hilton. I mean, he's practicing like, he was early in camp. He's at that point. So there's so many different options there. I can't stand here and say, yeah, he's got to get this. He's an important part of it. He's a really good player for us, and he's still an integral part of what we're doing.
The safety position, specifically looking at it in hindsight, is there anything that you guys can do to help them read it faster, more correctly? I mean, are there things are there keys that you can really kind of drill back in on and kind of get them to understand in the over pursuit, issues that they're having?
Yeah, I mean, we put the green dot in the safety's helmet a couple of weeks ago to assist. And so the green dot went from the linebacker's position to Greg Penn, and we put it in Sage's helmet to address that specifically. But if you're talking about the specifics in the game, there was a lot of space, and our safeties had to be really, really good at being inside out on the ball carrier and making tackles with too much air. And what we have to do collectively is shrink that down a lot more. That means better defensive line play, linebacker play, and initial force play, so they don't have to make a tackle from the size of this room, with a guy 235 pounds coming up through that hole. We need to shrink that down. So their play will be better because we've instituted the green dot, because we can get them some information. Their play will be better because the entire unit recognizes how important it is to give them a better opportunity in those tackling situations. And I thought that they were really good and focused this week.
It isn't far-fetched that you guys still have a path to the SEC championship game.
No.
Is that something that you've looked at? Would you like your players to be motivated by it, or is there just so much stuff? Say, hey, there's so many things to work on. Let's not think about that at all.
Well, it's priority is we need to clean up our own things that we need to get better at. That's the priority. But you also want to be able to say, hey, look, it's all still in front of you, right? You went out, you got an opportunity to still be in the playoffs, but also you have a great opportunity, to finish this season with 6-2 in the SEC, and that's pretty darn good. To go 18 wins over 3 years in the SEC is a lot. And so these guys understand that, but it started with, here's what we need to do to be better so we can even think about those things. And then, by the way, if you keep playing and you play better and you play more consistent, the door's still open for you. It has not closed.
Hey, Coach. At one point, you were a coordinator. I think just defensively. You haven't been an offensive coordinator.
No, I've been an offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
That actually works well. I'm
Thanks.
wondering, for my question,
Yeah.
I'm wondering what Coach Sloan's kind of going through in his first year calling the plays here, and between the two of you, what that collaboration process has been like, week after week, kind of telling him what you need to see and how you guys have gone about, building that relationship.
Right. Being in that seat for the first time is different. There's a difference between making suggestions and making decisions. He's been making suggestions most of his career, all of his career. Now he's got to make decisions. And so where I can help is that I was a play caller for over 20 years on offense. At Notre Dame, at Cincinnati, at Central Michigan, at 4 stops. So, I can help him, with the knowledge and the experience that I have. And then he's got to, obviously be who he is as well. And then I've got to come at it as a head coach, right? And as a head coach, I want more balance in our offense. And that balance has to be struck by how you sequence and call plays, right? You're not going to throw it 10 times and then try to run play action. It doesn't work so good, right? Nobody's fooled. So, and he understands that, but just kind of making sure that communication is effective, consistent, and daily.
Yeah, Brian, kind of piggybacking off of that a little bit, have there been instances so far this season where Joe's maybe called a play and you thought maybe there was a look that could
Every
give you a better
bad
chance?
play that he's called, I've told him not to call it. Every touchdown he's called, I've called. It's kind of one of those, right? Oh, that's a good call. No, look, it's really more about, for me, understanding, who we are as a football team, right? And it's pretty clear that, we're not complete in all areas. So we can't just say, hey, it's all about what our stats and what we do on offense. We have to be complementary. And I might have used that word maybe 100 times this year. But complementary football means our offense feeds off our defense and vice versa. And so we're coaching it. We're coaching it. And both of our guys are understanding, both on offense and defense. Because, look, nobody wants to see our defense in a passing situation. This league does not like LSU's defense when it's a passing situation. We create havoc. They kind of like us when it's 2 tight ends and the quarterback's running the ball. We got to figure that out. And so, we've got to have the answers for those things, because it'd be nice if teams would drop back. It seems when they do that, we kind of get after the quarterback pretty good. We sacked the quarterback at Mississippi 8-9 times. We knocked one of the quarterbacks at A&M out of the game. We made it difficult for South Carolina to keep their quarterback in the game. We made it really difficult on Arkansas. So you can understand that this is about, coaching and understanding what the next adjustment needs to be.
I don't know if you met with Nuss any extra this week. Just what has he been like as far as kind of?
This has been, I've spent a lot of time with him this week. I think he's been thoughtful, intentional. He's taken leadership. I just like the way he's locked in this week. And, my experience tells me that when a quarterback is this locked in, you might want to watch the game, because I think he's going to have a heck of a game. We'll end it on that.